Hey guys, Dazzler Magic here. Still got a little bit of a sore throat today because I was exposed to some nasty allergens in the last couple days. But luckily not that many to go through today, but I heard they're extra spicy with a whole new mechanic showing up today. Oh boy. That plus, well, if you didn't see my last video, they're rotating standard early. Shocker. I know, I've only been saying it for a year. So keep it tuned here. I don't know how you tune YouTube instead of just clicking on a link and watching my content, but you know, hey, find a way to do it. And let's jump into the first spoiler. We've got Hadar's Messenger. So this is a 4/4 for 5 in black, human warlock. If you pay 6, you can roll a d20. That's a bit. And 1 through 9, each player loses 2 life. That includes you. 10 through 19, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. That's more like it. And then 20, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. Create a treasure token. I feel like the 20 roll should have been a little bit more explosive because, you know, 5% of the time ain't that often, but I mean, I also kind of hate it when people win based on luck instead of skill and play decisions. But what I do know is that this is purple and I want it in foil. Next up, we've got Poisonous Troll. Some cool looking artwork there. Now remember though, if Wizards of the Coast, and exclusively people who work at Wizards of the Coast, literally nobody else thinks or says this, thinks that orcs are black people, I can't imagine who they think this is. Actually, I can imagine. I just want to keep ads on this and keep my channel unbanned, so I'm not going to say it. But what I'm going to say is they're a bunch of racist idiots. Oh, they're going to be hearing about that orcs are black people shit for the next 10, 20, 30 years. Just kidding. They won't be around that long. So anyway, this is a 5-drop creature troll. And if you pay 4 mana, you can roll a d20, but activate it only if it's in your graveyard. Oh, interesting. So you got to get it killed first, but it's a 6/2. Kind of like where this is going. It's kind of dynamic and a little bit of a new idea. Or at least a little bit unique. So 1 through 9, put Poisonous Troll on top of your library. Oh, jeez. 10 through 19, return Poisonous Troll to your hand. 20, put Poisonous Troll onto the battlefield tapped. So no matter what you're getting it back, it's just how disruptive is that process going to be. So if they were to make a die roll that has a guaranteed outcome across all 3, why make this one cost 4? Why not make this one cost 6? I mean, it's a freaking 6/2. Now, no haste, no flying, no trample, no death touch, you know, nothing like that. Okay. I still don't like recurring reanimators, but it almost should say the next time it dies, exile it or something, but whatever. So you're going to be seeing this a lot, but I mean, it's still 5 mana to get it out and 4 mana to like preload it just to get a 6/2. You'd almost have to be desperate because that doesn't even sound like a good prospect, but still unlimited access to a very big creature. That's, if standard was a little bit less powerful, this would be highly problematic. I think now in context, it's just kind of good. Next up, we've got Dancing Sword. It's 2-cost white artifact equipment, and equipped creature gets +2/+1. Whenever equipped creature dies, you may have Dancing Sword become a 2/1 construct artifact creature with flying and ward 1. Nice. If you do, it isn't an equipment. Otherwise, it's just equip 1. So a 2-drop with equip 1, but it's color locked. So I mean, if they had this available to everybody, that would be a little much, obviously, especially with that on death ability. But you kind of get one shot at it, and then if the creature holding it dies, you can never equip it again unless, I guess, you yo-yo it, bounce it, whatever, flicker it. So kind of interesting. I like it. I mean, just the idea of, well, I had this equipment. Oh no, you killed my best creature holding my equipment. Well, immediate value out of it. Board presence, partially saved. That's definitely a new dynamic with equipment. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this before. Next up, we've got Scaled Herbalist. It's a 2-drop 1/3, and it's a lizard druid, okay. And you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. Like I said, this isn't very useful past about turn 5 or 6. It's almost impossible with a normal gameplay for you to, past that point, have 2 lands in your hand, and the other one you could drop just because it's a land. Now, if you have like a recursive loop where you return it to hand, which I think there's still a creature that does that. Okay, you know, if you got a graveyard to hand thing with like an Evolving Wilds or Fabled, okay. I think that's what this is built for, otherwise this really isn't very good. Unless it's just like turn 3 double drop, let's go. But then I assure you Cultivate is a far better card. Next up, here's the new system. It's an enchantment class. So you might be thinking, oh, a saga? No, it's a brand new one. And Mark Rosewater actually did tell us about this ahead of time. He said there's going to be a brand new subtype of enchantment that we've never seen before. So this costs 1 red, it's an enchantment permanent, and then it says gain the next level as a sorcery to add its ability. So in other words, pay for the trigger at sorcery speed, level up. And we've seen the level up mechanic before. People either absolutely love it or hate it. I guess some people are indifferent. I think it's fantastic. It's basically auras and equipment where you're investing more time, effort, resources, mana into one creature to make it really bigger and better and upgraded. But then it's kind of like a double down if it dies. But what I don't like is the card disadvantage with auras. So level up was that fixed. I mean, obviously, some of the level up cards were really broken, and people just didn't like tracking it and rereading the card, but whatever. That's purely functional. I think from a fairness standpoint, it was interesting, and I mean, the game's really RPG-ish, like at least like the creatures and the characters and the monsters. So yeah, level them up. I mean, why not? I like leveling stuff up. I love RPGs. So anyway, if you would roll one or more dice, instead roll that many dice plus one and ignore the lowest rolls. So right off the bat, that's huge. And then we've got pay 2, get to level 2. Whenever you roll one or more dice, target creature you control gets +2/+0 and gains menace until end of turn. That's huge. I think this by itself made the D20 rolling mechanic in either mono red or red blue mix actually playable. So 3 total mana, you can get to level 3, and creatures you control have haste. So you're probably thinking, do you lose the former abilities because that third one doesn't seem that good? I mean, it is a permanent ongoing effect that affects basically everything that enters the battlefield. I mean, everything, but haste is only relevant if it entered the battlefield that turn, 99% of the time. So why would you go to level 3? Well, first of all, you could just not. And secondly, you maintain the level 2 and the level 1 abilities. By the way, Wizards made an unbelievably brainless, clueless statement about this. They said, and I quote, "Notably, a class's level isn't tracked with or represented by counters. A class's level is just something true about the permanent." That could have been phrased better, because every Magic player just proceeded to track it with a counter, as in a physical object indicator on the card, not literally a counter, which is what they meant, because then you could like remove counters with like a counter removing thing. So it's not an experience counter, it's not a lore counter, it's not a charge counter. Okay, I get it, but we're all going to drop like a counter on it to say like level 1, 2, or 3 to indicate that's where it is. I mean, even if somebody calls a judge over and you're like, oh, 9 turns ago I upgraded this to level 2. Oh, what proof do you have? What are you using to track it? Nothing, because Wizard said I can't. So just remember, if you drop a counter on it, it's not a real counter, like a die saying level 1, level 2, level 3, so 1, 2, and 3 on like a D6. I would almost like not use dice, because then they're thought of as counters, and somebody would say, oh, what type of counters are those? And you'd be like, oh, you're about to try to remove it or replicate it or something, aren't you? And then be like, no, totally not. They're not counters, but like seriously track this with something. I mean, you use the same thing you use to track, going through a dungeon or whatever. Use some Reese's Pieces or something. That's what everybody else uses. Preferably not something round and slick that can slide when somebody bumps the table, though. Those little weird, like, colored glass things that are like flat on the bottom that everybody's grandma has a bowl of as decoration. Yeah, use one of those. I mean, that's classic OG Pokemon right there. But yeah, I mean, if you get to level 3, which you have to get to level 2 first, I assume. They actually never technically said that. But also, I should throw in while we're covering the rules, you can have 2 of the same class in play at once, which I think you shouldn't be able to do, but then they'd have to word it like planeswalkers and whatever, and you are allowed to, quote, multi-class, have 2 different classes in play, but it's like 2 of the same class that just doesn't even make sense or match D&D, but you can do it. And then since the levels are considered properties of the permanent, they are tracked independently, so you don't like level up 2 barbarian classes at the same time, because even though it's like mentally considered a property of the player, so you, the player, are leveling up. That's what it's supposed to represent. That's not how it functionally works. So if you're to upgrade one barbarian class, you don't automatically slide the next one up a level saying, oh, but I leveled up as a barbarian. So lore versus mechanics, little discrepancy there. I wanted to kind of throw that in there. By the way, it's not all like permanent, what do they call that? Like persistent properties, or there's some term for it. I always forget it. I just call it a field ability. I think that's literally from Yu-Gi-Oh, but it's called like a static something, or I don't remember. But some of them are triggered abilities, as you're going to see. You level up, you get the trigger, that's it. But for this one, you would get first, second, and third level, all 3 of them. Kind of obvious then that's why they said for number 2, whenever you roll 1 or more dice, because the first part lets you roll 2 dice. In that case, you would have gotten +4, obviously. So yeah, that's a good catch by them. So also, even though this is representing you, the player, that's only like a soft logic lore flavored whatever thing. So if somebody bounces this back to hand and you replay it, you don't say, yeah, but I'm level 3, so I'm going to, you know, drop it in as 3. No, you just de-leveled because that's where the, oh, it's me, the player ends. So not the best design mechanic, but you can't have it all. And I kind of like it. It's unique, it's new, it's interesting. So, you know, hey, whatever. But this one in general, very, very, very powerful. I also like that they made it sorcery, because otherwise just everybody would be saving their mana for, you know, some kind of instant, and then when they don't spend it on the instant during their opponent's end step, they would level up just like that. Way, way, way too consistent, way too easy to do that. Now, you want that big, giant, persistent, ongoing, permanent-ish benefit or boost from it? You've got to invest the mana on your own turn. So next up, anyway, we've got Zorn, the rare creature elemental, 3-cost 3/2, and if you would create 1 or more treasure tokens, instead create those tokens plus an additional treasure token. Absolutely disgustingly overpowered with that stupid dragon deck, and I honestly hope they ban the dragon, especially with, spoiler alert, rotation coming early in Arena. Next up, we got a mythic legendary creature dragon. It's a 7-cost 7/7 with flying, and whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, create that many treasure tokens. I'd say that's pretty broken, but I mean, this thing has 0 evasion besides being in the air, so I mean, almost free hit, but okay. It doesn't have haste, so you have a turn cycle to pin it down, blow it up, steal it, whatever. It's Magic in 2021. Let's cut the crap. Something's going to happen to this thing. Every deck, every color, every combination is now a control deck, and I'm sick of it. So the free hit in the air for 7, it's not coming yet, but it says whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player. So you drop this in and then immediately go to combat. Oh, I got a, 6/6 trampler. There you go. Once this hits play, they basically have unlimited mana for the rest of the game. I mean, within reason. They're going to cast their whole hand within a turn or two. But if they were able to consistently deal damage direct to your life total with what they had in play, and then this just comes out on top of it, you are probably going to lose from that anyway. So it's like, yeah, this is borderline extremely OP and ban-worthy, but, I mean, if they're already getting through... But remember, not in green, but especially in blue, especially in this set, we have a ton of unblockable creatures. And blue is a control color, so you can do blue-green, just... scry, draw, get this guy out, counterspell, remove stuff, bounce stuff back to hand. Oh, look, he came out. Unlimited mana, gonna counterspell everything until the end of time, especially with draw spells. Now, it's a little unbalanced. I don't know if you'd be able to actually get that to work consistently without, like, recurring scry or something, but it's an archetype I don't want to see, and it's already forming in my head, so that's never good. So I don't know where Old Gnawbone comes from, but that actually in the art is Clagiliamator. Stupid ancient dragons and their dumb names. I'm going to call her Claudia. So next up, we've got the Cleric Class. Oh boy. 1-drop white, not even a rare. Seriously, they really should have made all these legendary. So if you would gain life, you gain that much life plus 1 instead, which is already pretty broken because life gain is completely out of control in like 3 different color combinations already, and I suspect a 4th one after the release of this set. Although rotation is happening early, so maybe not. I forget exactly how crucial the stuff will drop is. My guess is a lot. And then if you pay 4, you can get to level 2. Whenever you gain life, put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control. So, I mean, you're invested 5 mana at that point. Okay. But you can draw this, turn 1, drop it in, and then invest the 4 later, which is a lot easier than, oh, I got a 5-cost card that does this into my hand exactly on time, and then I invested all 5 at once. So it looks like a lot, but it's really not. But yeah, that, I guess, a Johnny's Pride made effect, I guess we could say. Mixed with the pseudo sun bond, mixed with all the life gain, mixed with all the angels. They're already flying. They're already in there. A lot of them are first strike. Then they have the alternate win con. It's like, this is just way too much. It's just piling up way too quickly. And a lot of them are Kaldheim effects, so, or permanent spells, whatever, so they won't rotate. I think they went way too far with this one, unfortunately. Just not because of the card, not because of anything in a vacuum with this. This is just fine. It's the state of standard and then dumping this onto it. That's the problem. So anyway, you pay 5 more, and whenever this class becomes level 3, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. You gain life equal to its toughness. So it's a one and done, just boom effect, and then you get no persistent effect, although you do keep, 1 and 2. So insanely good card in pure white life gain. They just need to ban that stupid angel. Let's get to 35 and win, because this enables it way too easily. Next up, we got the Bard Class, and of course it's multicolor. Hell, it should have been 5-color. Legendary creatures you control enter the battlefield with an additional 1/1 counter on them. That's just nice. Okay. I mean, it's so narrow, and I don't think anybody plays that color combination right now, but who knows. Then legendary, pay 2 to level up. Legendary spells you cast cost 2, so 1 red and 1 green specifically less to cast. You don't see that as often as generic. And then this effect reduces only the amount of colored mana you pay. Oh, yeah, I kind of just said that. Except they're specifying this cannot reduce generic costs. So if something costs 1 green and 4 generic, you can't use the red as generic, even though, like, when you're casting it, you're used to, I can use red mana as generic, but that's not how this works. So they just wanted to, pump the brakes there a little bit. And then if you pay 5 total with still the color mix, whenever you cast a legendary spell, exile the top 2 cards of your library, you may play them this turn. So, I mean, this is obviously, it's really good, really powerful, very good build-up. A reasonable amount of investment, but it's so narrow because of its colors and what it affects. And Dominaria already cycled out, so Legendary as a mechanic is out. But I think just the fact that Commander format exists took this from like a 25-cent card to like a $10 card potentially. I kind of doubt it, but I mean, it's just that this is pretty useful. It's going to be pretty well liked in the right kind of Commander deck. Next up, here it is. We knew it was coming, called it. Mark totally gave this away in the previews. It's Minsc, Beloved Ranger. What are you talking about? Everybody hates Minsc. They just like his giant space hamster, or his miniature giant space hamster. I actually couldn't stand him in Baldur's Gate 2, but anyway. He's a triple cost, unfortunately, but it kind of makes sense. Human Ranger, 3/3. And when Minsc, Beloved Ranger enters the battlefield, create Boo, a legendary 1/1 red hamster creature token with trample and haste. Always nice to see trample on a 1/1, but if you pay X until end of turn, target creature you control has base power and toughness XX and becomes a giant in addition to its other types. Activate only as a sorcery. Go for the eyes, Boo. Well, a universal pumper, I mean, yeah, you're pretty much putting all your mana for the turn into it, but, like, that's pretty good. You can target anything. I wish it only would have been able to target Boo, but then nobody would play this. It's already triple color, so you've already crippled your deck at that point to running just narrowly this, which is way more of a problem in Standard than anything else, obviously. But, I mean, yeah, this is powerful. And remember, one of those colors is green, so you could jack that up real high. Next up, we've got You Meet at a Tavern, and apparently word is I'm not the only one who finds these names cringe and inappropriate for the game, because it's just, this is not how or what spells are named. Anyway, it's a 4-cost sorcery. Choose one, form a party, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may, oh god, this makes so much sense with the name. You may reveal any number of creature cards from among them and put them in your hand. Oh, it didn't say with different creature types. I thought for sure that was coming. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So it's like Super Coco, except a couple of those are going to be lands. A couple of them are going to be other spells that aren't creatures, and you don't put them into play. But still, like, this is... I mean, if this was a blue draw spell, this would be insane, and it's green. I mean, we got the ETB and all the life gain triggers. We got that stupid Great Henge crap. Can't wait till that nuisance is out of the game. Yes, it's in almost every deck I build. It's not, I'm not going to use it, but I can hate it and use it simultaneously. Now, I've got some standards. I'm not going to play mill, okay? I don't care. I don't care how winning it is. I'm not going to play the mill archetype. But, power cards, I'm going to simultaneously win games while complaining about how easy it is to win games. I mean, if that doesn't make sense to you, you're the one with the problem. So the second option here is start a brawl. Creatures you control get +2/+2 until end of turn. So you can either form a party or just devolve into a fist fight and then go try the next tavern over, which, welcome to my character in D&D. Which character, you might be asking? All of them. Hey, you want to join my party? Only if you split the loot 50-50. Your mother was a greedy bitch. Pff, there comes the bar stool. I'll split the loot when hell freezes over. Next up, oh yes, it's the Wizard class, so that's right. For 1 blue as a permanent, you have no maximum hand size. Damn. Then if you pay 3, you can level up to level 2. You know how it works at this point. When the class becomes level 2, draw 2 cards, so just 1 and done. And then if you pay 5, level 3, whenever you draw a card, put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control. So this one, they flip-flopped it. The middle one is like the 1 and done useless one, and then the persistent ability is level 3. And I kind of like how they kind of mixed it up a little bit. Well, then Barbarian, all 3 were persistent, so they're definitely mixing it up, making it, different. It's not just I pay mana, I get thing, where like level 2 and 3 are just basically free spells, free cards. Then it would just act like a delayed like split card where, oh, you can cast one side or the other, except, oh, it's true now for longer term than just at the moment. Ooh, How new? It's literally, it would just be like a creature with activated abilities. So I do like how like the majority of them are passive or like ongoing or whatever. Because a lot of like, you know, multi-ability like wizard style things where it's like do this, or do this, they're one and done. In fact, I think they pretty much all are. And this should feel different. You should have an ongoing effect. That's how leveling up works, you know? So this particular one, you always got to worry about when they're doing a cycle of thing and they invent a new thing, what is the blue version going to do? Because blue is the worst. I think they handled it pretty well. I mean, it's like you invest that much mana and all you get is a counter every time you draw a card. Okay. But in blue, in the right deck, that can get out of control quickly, but not in every deck. And so it's, you know, it's a lot of mana. So it's not just automatically like absolute groan, oh, look, another mill enabler or whatever. It's just kind of, okay. Still, it's a blue draw encourager. That's not good in control decks, but, you know, what are you going to do? Next up, Ranger Class. I do not understand the rarity on this. The last one was uncommon. I think between the last two we saw before that, one was uncommon, one was rare, and now this one's rare. I assure you, Rangers are not that rare. So this one's green because of course it is. 2 cost finally instead of 1. And whenever Ranger Class enters battlefield, create a 2/2 green wolf creature token. So the first ability is a 1 and done. Then if you pay 2, whenever you attack, put a 1/1 counter on target attacking creature. I assume that that's kind of almost vague wording, but I think they just shorted it because there wasn't enough room for the text. But it's whenever you attack. So it should probably say whenever one or more creatures is declared as an attacker, but there probably is some shortcut word involving, you know, you, the player, attacking. I've never heard of it before, but okay. So yeah, I think you get 1 counter even if you swing with 10 creatures, because otherwise for 2 mana that would be ridiculous. And then if you pay 4, you may look at the top card of your library at any time. You may cast creature spells from the top of your library. Okay, we haven't had an effect like that in a while actually, and on this one they make you earn it. So very, very extremely solid card here. Between this and just that other green spell that we saw, I think green is looking pretty good for draft and for sealed. So next up, Fighter Class, which is, I guess, appropriately the Soldier and Warrior color. White, blue. God, I seriously have a disability. White, red. I tell you, I can do math in my head. I can usually read just fine. I cannot look at colors and name them. I am generally incapable of doing it. My brain just turns off and then it just guesses one because I panic. I don't know what the hell is wrong with me. Probably multiple things, but that would be white and red. I just have to step back, assess it, memorize it, and then say it. I can't just say it on the fly while looking at it. I don't know where the disconnect is. What the hell ever. Anyway, got some crosswires up here, but that ain't surprised anybody. One Fighter Class enters the battlefield. Search your library for an equipment card. Nice. Reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. Okay. Little equipment fetcher for 2, but it is 2 color, which makes it narrower. They've had to ban cards for doing this. Remember, what was it, Stoneforge Mystic? I think that did something with, like, equipment fetching for free for 2 little mana. I don't remember. I can look it up, but I don't care. I'm so pissed that that thing's unbanned. So if you pay 3, with, of course, the combined colors intact there, equipped abilities you activate cost 2 less to activate. Okay, fair. Extremely powerful and fair. The problem is, if you're counting on, like, really powerful, good equipment with like equip costs above 2, like 3, 4, 5, you know, really good stuff. First of all, there's not that much in standard right now, especially post-rotation. And secondly, you got to build your whole deck around this card and hope when you put it in, it sticks. It's like so powerful that nothing else is redundant with it, so you almost can't play this and can't build a deck around it. But if it's one of those passive things where it's just, you know, a bunch of stuff free equips right now in multiple sets, so hey, whatever, you know, if you just see this and you're like, oh, that's nice. Yeah, that's a more level-headed approach, but let's see what level 3 does. So you pay 5. Whenever a creature you control attacks, up to 1 target creature blocks it this combat if able. Ooh, spicy. Force blocks on, the way I read it, every single attacker, because it's whenever a creature you control attacks. So per creature, trigger. So all creatures must be blocked by at least 1 creature if able, or something to that effect would be a better way to write that. I mean, okay, that pretty much is what they wrote. That is honestly insane. Guaranteeing that nothing gets through, you might think, well, that's insane, but like, trample, flying, first strike, lifelink, death touch, if they were able to block everything, they would do it, and you wouldn't have swung. So the fact that you swing, and then they're like, oh, okay, I guess I have to throw this creature that I don't want to lose in front of this because I'm, you know, legally obligated to. That is vicious. This is, I mean, yeah, it's a big investment. It's 10 mana, but this is, like, so good. Next up, we got the Rogue Class. Shocker, it's Dimir colors. So pay 2, drop it in. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, exile the top card of that player's library face down. You may look at it for long as it remains exiled. But then that's the end of it. You can't do anything with it. But level up. Pay 3, level 2, creatures you control have menace, and then get all the way to level 3, which is another 4 mana. Then you may play cards exiled with Rogue Class, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast those spells. So you are going to want to get to that level real quick, otherwise this does a whole lot of nothing initially. But the payoff is huge. So in other words, arrange things exactly perfectly and do an enormous amount of damage. Hey, the Rogue Class! And it's an on-hit like looter ability, which is typically seen in rogues. So, I mean, they nailed it flavor-wise. That said, this is really fucking annoying. Remember, my policy has and always will be in Magic the Gathering, swipe or no swiping. Keep your hands off my shit or I'm gonna cut your hand off when you reach for it. I am so over this stealing shit with one, that stupid red thing that says if your opponent has more cards, steal their shit and free cast it until the end of time. And then the other absolute gem, kidnap it and then sack it with Witch's Oven. I will never recover from that deck being a thing. I am scarred for life. I am so sick of that stupid fucking archetype. Taking your most powerful creature for like 2 mana, and then you lose it as a blocker, then hitting you with it after you've lost it as a blocker, then sacking it so that you no longer have it is for 2 mana. That is ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous. Whoever thought that that was acceptable as an archetype and then didn't do something about it in playtesting or after it became popular, which they finally did like a year too damn late. I think Witch's Oven is like banned now or whatever, but then there's like something almost as bad that people just play now. It's still an archetype. People still play it on Arena, just FYI. I am so sick of that shit. So the fact that they're just like, oh, I'm going to pile up, 6 cards and then I'm going to cast them all as soon as I put enough mana into this. I'm just going to unload your own damn deck on you. But what are the chances that after they've invested that much and how were they able to hit you that many times, but also you haven't lost the game yet? And why didn't you do something about it? Okay, those things aside, which I mean, come on, creatures you control have menace. Maybe that's how they kept hitting you. What are the odds that anything they stole from you is relevant? I wish it would say cast instead of play though, because now they're just going to drop all your lands into play. Obviously 1 per turn, but still, like it's like ramp in colors that shouldn't have ramp in a class that shouldn't have ramp. I think that was an oversight. It really, really should not say play. Because usually what screws over effects like this, where they're just blindly stealing crap from the top of your library, is when they hit a land, that's it. It's a dud, it does nothing. So I don't know, I think this is my least favorite class right now. And yeah, rogues are assholes and they're annoying. Shocker. Nailed it, wizards. Next up, we got the Sorcerer Class, aka the Pretty Boys, aka the Wizard Wannabes, aka the Clueless Magic Monkeys. Guess who has never played a Sorcerer in their entire life and has only ever played Wizards? I'm not kidding, that's like 8 years of tabletop, all of Neverwinter Nights Platinum, all of Baldur's Gate 2, still never played a Sorcerer, all of DDO, Dungeons & Dragons Online, still never played a Sorcerer. I think even in Neverwinter, the MMO, I still never played a Sorcerer. I can't stand them. Oh look, it's my favorite colors, is it? This is going to be cancer, I bet. Alright, when Sorcerer Class enters the battlefield, draw 2 cards and discard 2 cards. Okay, but it's going to do something with the graveyard though, just saying. Pay 2, creatures you control have tap, add 1, really it's a ramp, add 1 blue or 1 red mana, spend this only to cast an instant sorcery spell, or to gain a class level. Ooh, okay, spicy. And then pay 5 level 3. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, that spell deals damage to each opponent equal to the number of instant sorcery spells you've cast this turn. Oh, so little storm pinger bonus. Okay, that's, I mean, you can't go much harder than that without just it being spell spamming broken storm crap. So, okay, I know this seems underwhelming, but don't underestimate it. It's good. You start tacking more damage onto a red spell. Hey, I just can't stand the spell spamming mechanic. They need to stop with that shit. Was years ago, it seems like. It wasn't, but it feels like it. And they keep bringing it back. They keep resurrecting Storm, where they're like, hey, you get this big reward if you can cast, opt 3 times in 1 turn, and then cast clone a spell, and, draw a bunch of shit, overdrop lands, because you're going to sit there with 1 land per turn, because you're sitting there, draw. You never run out of spells in your hand, which means you always have a counter spell. I'm just so sick of that stupid fucking archetype. And in all likelihood, so are you. So, yeah, I hate this. And it's pretty damn hard to get this going. It's 9 mana, but I despise this. Next up, we got Ingenious Smith, so finally not a class ability, although, I mean, Smith. I mean, come on, like, I guess it's more of an NPC. But, oh, they should have NPC as a subtype. That would have been awesome. Or like shopkeeper at least or something. Oh my gosh. Oh, and you can like pay mana to buy equipment. Oh my god, and the equipment could have been tokens. Come on, Wizards. You could have done that. That would have been so cool. Anyway, it probably wouldn't have broken a ship, but I like the idea. I went full Mark Rosewater on that. It'll probably be a disaster, but it'll be so cool and new that I'm going to do it anyway. Hi, I'm Mark Rosewater. I would play test it. I would drop it if it didn't work. That's where the divergence comes. That's the difference between a creative person and a lunatic. Anyway, when Ingenious Smith enters the battlefield, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal an artifact card from among them and put it in your hand, even if it's not an equipment. And put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Whenever one or more artifacts enters the battlefield under your control, even if it's not an equipment, put a 1/1 counter on Ingenious Smith. The ability triggers only once each turn. Oh yeah, because you got to pump the brakes on a 1/1 for 2. Really? How much do they think you're dropping in per turn? They must have been thinking of like just way ahead to like modern where there's some kind of near infinite like 0 drop artifact thing where you could swing for like 8 damage on turn 2 or something. That has to be the logic of what went into that last line. So anyway, yeah, I mean, this is just fantastic. It's a good card. I kind of wish it was a human soldier, but it makes sense that it's an artificer. Would have fit the deck better, but you know, whatever. I kind of don't want white red equipment to be a thing because white's already OP. They got angels. The angels don't need equipment. Next up, Price of Loyalty. It's 3-cost sorcery. Oh, here we go. Gain control of target creature. Well, how about you go f*** yourself instead? How about that? I need a face-down, morphed, 0-cost, colorless artifact or enchantment that says, when an opponent gains control of one of your creatures, flip this card up, and whatever that creature's either power or mana value, your choice is, deal 5 times that much to every creature they control. And then we'll see if they want to steal my shit after that. In fact, you know what? Just a face-down card on the battlefield as a trap would be a little too obvious. Make it a 0-cost instant, colorless, so that everybody can have it, everybody can sideboard it, and then we'll see if they want to steal my shit after they get all their creatures blown straight to hell. So sick of this active treason shit. Anyway, it gains haste until end of turn. If mana from a treasure was spent to cast a spell, the creature gets +2/+0 until end of turn. Yeah, f*** you too. And of course it's common, and of course you're going to see it nonstop in draft. Next up, Split the Party, which, don't. But moving on, it's a 5-cost blue spell. Choose target player, return half the creatures they control to their owner's hand rounded up. I just realized the flavor text is don't. I was actually just saying that because don't. I didn't even read that. That is hilarious. You guys are going to think that I'm making that up. No, legitimately, I hadn't read the bottom of the card yet. I just read the title and just went straight there. It's almost like I've had bad experiences with that. But anyway, do you choose them? Do they choose them? I mean, I guess it's you because you control the spell. It doesn't specify. I don't know why they felt the need to not specify when they've got nothing but open dead-ass space on the card. Actually, I think I've seen similar effects where they choose. Now I'm actually confused. I'm only about 75-25 on that. So thanks, Wizards. More vague crap. Well, anyway, it's about time we got like a conditional different variant of Aether Spouts. Or Aether Eyes, I guess would be the original. So, sure. By the way, 5 mana Aether Spouts, it's top or bottom of their library, you choose. Ouch. And it's attacking, so they earned it. They deserved it. So next up, we got Silver Raven. Looks like somebody took this card, flushed it down the toilet, and then took a picture of it, which is the typical way to apparently spoil a card on Twitter, especially if you want them to send you another spoiler. Make sure it's as blurry and unreadable as possible. Represents the game very well. Good job with your free marketing that they're not paying you for. Anyway, it's a 1-cost 1/1 flying, and when it enters the battlefield, scry 1. Oh boy, it's the definition of filler. Well, I guess they gave this card the respect it deserves. Here's your spoiler. It's a glorified common vanilla shitbird. Speaking of shitbirds, we've got Iymrith. Sounds like an elf name. Whatever. Anyway, Desert Doom. So it's 5-cost 5/5 mythic dragon, legendary creature, of course, and flying. And what nickname am I going to come up with this one? When Emma enters the battlefield, it has ward 4 as long as it's untapped. Oh, so you keep it defensive, and if you don't use it, they can't target it as well. Ooh, we've seen that in the past. It's kind of neat. You get to kind of play chicken with your opponent, but this one's in a duck and cover color, so that's fun. Then whatever deals combat damage to a player, so then you have the incentive to swing. Oh, I love this. Draw a card. Then if you have fewer than 3 cards in hand, draw cards equal to the difference. Interesting overall. Next up, we've got Regente de Puerto del Oeste. aka Westgate Regent. Actually, that says West Door Regent, but okay. I mean, it's Westport Regent if you want to get technical. That's right, in Spain, all doors are portals. Magic portals. Living in Spain is basically just like a fantasy RPG. I mean, just the amount of human versus bullfights is a lot higher than you would think in normal life. It's pretty much just a video game. You know, like how people say living in Russia is like playing GTA 5 with a bunch of weird mods installed? Anyway, this is a 5-cost 4/4 vampire with flying. It has ward, discard a card. Nice. Very, very black thing to do. And whenever Westgate Regent deals combat damage to a player, put a 1/1 counter on it. So just a pretty typical vampire. I feel like this is kind of, it could have stood to be a 4-cost 3/3 if they wanted people to play it more, but, you know, whatever's good. This is an enormous threat in draft and sealed, because, I mean, it's out of the reach of, like, red removal spells, some of them, and then it's going to hit in the air, which is air creatures are very, very vicious in limited, and then it's going to get bigger every time it hits. I mean, and then it has ward, so, like, you're just not getting rid of this thing. This is going to be a menace in draft and in sealed. It might actually be good enough to play in standard with that discard effect. And, oh my god, if somebody had a Madness deck going in, like, Modern, oh my gosh, yes. Oh, you tried to blow him up? Here, have a discounted spell. And also, he's not getting blown up, screw you. So next up, we got the Druid Class, aka the Hipsters, aka the Shapeshifters, aka I don't want them in my party, they suck. As soon as it's like, I'm gonna use Wild Shape or whatever, you might as well just get up, do a lap around the house, maybe hit the bathroom, go get some snacks, because it's gonna be 5 minutes while they're like, hold on, wait, hold on. No, it's not this page. Hold on. Oh, there's the specs for a bear. Okay, well, actually, no, I don't think I should turn into a bear. Hold on. Okay, I turned into a T-Rex. Oh, the DM says no. Okay, hold on. Okay, I'm not going to Wild Shape. I'm going to cast Shillelagh. I hate druids so much. Freaking hipsters. Anyway, it's a 2-cost, green class. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life, because of course you do. And if you pay 3, level up, you may play an additional land on each of your turns. Worthless by the time you can afford that. And then 5, get to level 3. When this class becomes level 3, target land you control becomes a creature with haste, and this creature's power and toughness are each equal to the number of lands you control. It's still a land. I mean, okay, you're probably just going to get your land killed. It's not the easiest thing in the world for people to target, but it doesn't have trample or anything, but still, it should be pretty darn big. Landfall isn't that good, and we no longer have cards that would enable the whole double drop to actually be, like, a doable thing. The one card that said, like, you can play cards from your graveyard that are lands or whatever, I think that already cycled out, so... Was it Scape Shift or something? Yeah, I think that was like 1 or 2 or 3 core sets ago. Or I hope it's not still legal and I'm just totally blind spotting that. But without that, this just honestly isn't very good, which neither are druids. I mean, they really, really nailed it on lore on this one. Well, I guess flavor. I keep saying lore. I mean to say flavor. Next up, we got Blue Dragon. That's how you pronounce it, you guys. Isn't that how you pronounce it or not? Oh, I wish I had some cheese curds right now. So anyway, you guys, it's a 7-cost 5/5 with flying, don't you know? And lightning breath. Oh, your Aunt Cheryl knows a natural remedy for that. Get rid of that lightning breath. But in the meantime, when Blue Dragon enters the battlefield until your next turn, target creature an opponent controls gets -3, -0, up to 1. Wait. They've already lost me. When Blue Dragon enters the battlefield until your next turn, so inclusive of your turn and then until the start of your next turn, target creature an opponent controls gets -3 attack, up to 1 other target creature gets -2 attack, and up to 1 other target creature gets -1 attack. I never did like these temporary power shrinking abilities, and it's not like this even has haste. So like, what even is the point? You're saving yourself maybe 1 turn of them swinging, maybe. And it's not even a surprise or ambush. They could adjust their attack strategy because they have all this warning. This is just not good. You might be able to swing away in who knows what color you mixed with, but God, by itself, mono blue, this would just be trash. You guys. So anyway, Mind Flayer. Oh god, I hate them. We've got a 5-cost horror dominate monster. Oh, here we go. So it's a 3/3 because they are usually pretty weak. They got like under 100 hit points. You can take them straight out. But when Mind Flayer enters the battlefield, gain control of target creature for as long as you control Mind Flayer. Hey, remember Willbreaker from Origins? This is both artistically and strategically pretty much the same card, but believe it or not, worse. You get one free target. Okay, cool. Will Breaker, whenever a creature an opponent controls becomes the target of any spell or ability you control. Yes, I abused the living hell out of this card in a deck. Probably called Kidnapper or something. With a 1 cost like colorless ability that was just like a random boost, but it only costs 1. So if I drop this in and you let it resolve and you let it stick, the next turn I'm spending 5 mana to steal 5 creatures. It was horrific. Now, they didn't have haste, so they had a lot of time to respawn, but what they didn't have a lot of was creatures left. At the time, it didn't have enough support. It was really hard to protect it. We didn't have a lot of good, like, 1 cost, turn aside, like, spells and stuff. But it was really funny when I could pull it off. It didn't win much. It was a gimmick. But my God, is Willbreaker an underappreciated card. This is insane. If you can give this like permanent hexproof or shroud or something, or just cover it, like you're just going to win, period. Honestly, overlooked but awesome. Willbreaker. I stuck it into the middle of a spoiler video about D&D. There you go. Run this in your commander deck. This card is insane. But yeah, Mind Flayer, weaker version of it, but you don't need a targeted ability. So, okay, whatever. So next up we got Paladin's Shield. It's a white equipment with flash. Oh boy, when it enters the battlefield, attach it to creature you control without paying its equip cost because equipment doesn't mean anything anymore. And equipped creature gets +0/+2 and then equip 3, so it's also not even good. Next up, Magic Missile. It's a 3-cost red spell, unfortunately, and the spell can't be countered. That is so classic. A Magic Missile deals 3 damage divided as you chose among 1, 2, or 3 targets because of course it does. That's how Magic Missile works. 100% flavor win. And next up we got, here it is. Should I even read this? It's already going to be banned. There is a 100% chance that this card is going to be banned. I kid you not. Words cannot describe how badly Wizards f***ed up with this one. So, triple white legendary artifact that unfortunately still isn't Godsend. At the beginning of your end step, if you gained 3 or more life this turn, create a 3/3 white angel creature token with flying, because that's what we needed in white life gain. But also, if you pay 3, tap it, exile the Book of Exalted Deeds, put an enlightened counter on target angel, it gains you can't lose the game and your opponents can't win the game. Activate only as a sorcery. Oh, a platinum angel generator. What's the problem with that? None of the angels have hexproof. Oh, that's right. Faceless Haven. And it uses snowlands, and most of the angels in an angel tribal deck are in Kaldheim anyway. Oh, good. It is temporarily an angel until end of turn because it's all types. It has all creature types. So then you pay 3, slap the asshole counter or whatever it's called onto this piece of shit, and then, end the turn. Don't even swing. Who cares? You already won. Because now the only way that your opponent can win the game is if they have a land destruction card, which they don't because they're probably not as big of an asshole as you, and only assholes run land destruction cards. So let's see. They can counter the Book of Exalted Deeds or kill spell Faceless Haven before the end of turn. If they don't do one of the 2 of those, or I guess counter the ability, but there's almost no way to do that, you now can't lose the game unless they can blow up your land, and they are not going to blow up your land because it will stop being a creature but still have the counter. Will they maybe do a ruling or an errata or something that says, oh, it only maintains the ability of you can't lose the game and your opponents can't win the game while it's a creature or while it's an angel. If it becomes another type of permanent, it loses that ability. But that's not how the rule works. If something says tap all permanents, guess what? You have to tap your planeswalkers and your equipment. No, it doesn't make sense. Yes, that's how it works, okay? Not everything has to be all tidy in Magic the Gathering. So, a creature-only ability stuck on something that isn't a creature. Why not? I can take Heliod and put a counter on my exiling Banishing Light. How would I do that? Why would that make sense? How does that work? I don't have an answer for you, but you can do it. Just like you can take an Exalted, Enlightened, whatever the hell counter and put it on this piece of shit and then never lose the game ever. So they're probably actually either going to ban Faceless Haven because it's such a fucking annoying card already, or they're going to errata the card, or they're just going to ban the Book of Exalted Deeds, which is what they should do because Angels is OP as shit already, not to mention how absolutely stomp you in the nuts it's going to be post-rotation, which, by the way, is happening early on Arena. So we are headed to a disaster for every reason I just said. F*** this card and f*** Wizards of the Coast. But especially a special shout-out, changelings. Yes, I know it's not technically a changeling, but in the lore it is a changeling, so that's almost even worse. Next up we got Sepulcher Ghoul. It's a 2-cost 2/1. Yes, that is how you pronounce it. Anybody else who mispronounces it, blow them up in the comment section like you always do. Anyway, sacrifice another creature. Hey, free sack outlet. There you go. There you go. There's your Witch's Oven. Except, didn't Witch's Oven cost like 1? Maybe it was free. Yeah, this is free and it's part of a cost and you get a benefit for it and it's a common and it's a 2-drop and it's on color. So that's, 4 or 5 mistakes right in a row there. Sepulcher Ghoul gets +2/+2 till end of turn, activate only once each turn. Oh, who gives a shit? They only stole one of your fucking permanents with their stupid shit Rakdos Kidnapper deck. Take your little not play-tested accident here and fuck off with it, Wizards. Assholes. Next up, speaking of assholes, Paladin Class. It's a 1-cost, white class. Why some colors get multiple classes, I don't know. Why are some multi and they've completely left out, I think, entire colors now at this point? F you, that's why. What, do you think they balance the set? You think they playtest any of this shit? Are you out of your mind? Anyways, spells your opponent's cast during your turn cost 1 more to cast because Paladins have a save boost. It's all its flavor. Then you pay 3. Creatures you control get +1/+1, and then if you pay 5 more, whenever you attack until end of turn, target attacking creature, singular, okay, gets +1/+1 for each other attacking creature and gains double strike. I feel like it should say, choose target attacking creature to make it really, really clear that it's singular. The vague wording on all of these is amazing. So yeah, hyper powerful and in arguably right now the most effective set of creatures as far as colors goes. You got angels, you got clerics, you got, first strike, lifelink, flyers, it has it all. I mean, you could say green has better creatures because they do, but white usually has more effective creatures, green usually has bigger creatures, and I would say that describes the meta right now. When you can swing in the air and heal yourself and kill anything, first strike, ambush, boost, all that crap, double strike on this, and then you just don't care about the counter swing, yeah, white has the better creatures. It's that simple. You go white versus green, you're probably going to win every time, is what I'm saying. And plus, white has removal, green has second-rate removal, so it's like white's going to win hands down. And then they get this, so this is pretty spicy. I feel like it should have said spells your opponent's cast during your turn can f*** off. They're completely countered. F*** you blue play and douche. But I guess that was too many words to fit on the card. Now if you're about to say no, they just would have thought that would be overpowered. Really, Wizards thought something would be overpowered and didn't put it on a card. I think you're confusing them with any other company anywhere ever. Next up, seriously, are we getting close to the end here? Anyway, 3 costs, Direwolf Prowler, 2/2, great, pay 2, it gets +2/+2 and gains haste until end of turn because now green has haste, apparently. Activate only once each turn. Oh, you didn't want to give it double fire breathing too? I'm surprised they didn't also give it trample. Alright, well, it's still not that good of a card, but okay. Next up, we got the Warlock Class. Hey, there we go. At the beginning of your end step, if a creature died this turn, each opponent loses 1 life. Nice. Whenever this class becomes level 2, look at the top 3 cards of your library, put 1 of them into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. Okay. Little free, almost read the bonesy kind of thing. And then, 7 to get to level 3. Hello. At the beginning of your end step, each opponent loses life equal to the life they lost this turn. Oh, good. Fantastic. So we've already got that cleric asshole where every time you gain life, your opponent loses that much life. And now we got this bullshit on top of it. And yes, they work together. I don't care if they would put 15 as the cost. This is completely unacceptable. What a broken, overpowered card. And it's in the uncommon slot, of course. Oh, hallelujah, that's the last one. Good, I'm done reading these. This set just went right straight down the toilet. I like the class idea, but we've seen too much broken shit. This is fucking terrible. Unless you play Commander, you're probably pretty excited about this, because I didn't see anything wrong with this in Commander. But, I mean, we already knew Constructed in Standard was a dumpster fire, but I thought, okay, they're finally rotating early. I can finally calm things down, build a damn deck, and get rid of all this obnoxious, mutate and Eldraine shit. Nope. Do you hear it? Here comes the reinforcements marching in of 10 different more broken shit that we have to deal with for the next 1.5 years. Awesome. Thanks, Wizards. F*** you too. Standard will never be playable again, and you're losing your core base, and you're losing all your arena income, so I hope you're very satisfied with what you did to Standard, you absolute morons. And remember, it's not like an accident, no, they willingly said, they came out and said, we on purpose, knowingly, upped the power level of Standard, so that, they even explained why they did it, they even said when they did it, they said what set they started with. I think they started 4 sets before they said they did, but because they wanted to sell cards to Commander players, if I were to paraphrase. So they got greedy, They favored high-powered broken shit to sell to Commander people to make a little bit of extra money on Standard products, and then they killed Standard because of it. Does that seem like a good financial decision in the long term? Right after they launched Arena, was that good timing to kill Standard? Since Arena is pretty much just Standard, and now they're just scrambling to make Historic into Modern, you know, by injecting a bunch of broken shit into it, and then, well, how'd that work? And they're managing the ban list for Historic even worse than Modern, and driving people away from that, so now everybody's just leaving Arena completely. And now they're like, whoa, guys, come back, we're going to rotate it early, and then they're going to rotate it early and then throw this shit into the mix. Are you kidding me? Oh my gosh, this was... They missed such an opportunity. So now we got all this broken, overpowered shit. It's just going to be White Angels, mono white life gain running everything after the actual rotation. And that's before they inject some broken Innistrad shit, and then the return to Kamigawa, like, future Neo, whatever the hell, some term for it. Oh, did I spoil that? Yeah, we're going back to Kamigawa in 2022. It's going to be like future... cyberpunk, so I hope you're into that. I guarantee I just blindsided some people with that, but it's true. Well, with that bombshell, I already don't want to edit this. It's 50 fucking minutes long, but there was a lot to look into on these cards, so I'm out. Have a good 4th of July. Don't blow yourself up. Go put something in the grill, and I'll see you guys next time. Also, you, England. Oh, you don't see why we need guns? We kicked you out of our country with them. Thought you'd have learned the value of individual gun ownership.